I've enjoyed convincing you that you're nothing, you're never going to be nothing, you came from nothing, and you'll never get out. You'll never be loved, you'll never be happy, you'll never be blessed, you'll never be free, you'll never get yourself together, you will never be nothing. I've enjoyed attacking him. As long as you stay over there and this stays over here, everything will be all right. But the moment you try to break away from where you came from and take over new territory, that's when all hell breaks loose in your life. What you fighting didn't start with you. Go back in your family. That devil's been in that territory for a long time. He doesn't want to leave the region. That devil isn't interested in you. He's interested in your territory. He's interested in your region. He's after your turf. He's after your stuff. There's something that you have that he wants, and he doesn't care about you. He says, I can use her. I can use a pig. I can use a goat. I can use a dog. I can use her sister. I can use his brother. I can use somebody close to them. It sounds like somebody else in here has had some lying voices whispering in your ear, telling you what you can't do it, what you can't be, and what you can't have. And if you don't do it with me, it can't be done. The devil is a lie. You need to abort every voice that said you can't do it, you can't have it, you can't be it, you'll never get up, you'll never survive. The devil is a lie. Abort that thing. Push it out. Oh, it ain't gonna be no Holyfield fight dancing around. Oh no, I'm gonna bite you, I'm gonna kick you in your eye. I'll fight like a wild animal. I didn't come this far to let you take my stuff. You have accepted some things as normal and adjusted your way of life to accommodate something that was never meant to be. If you don't possess what's yours, the enemy will possess your land. See, when you start running from one thing, you're going to keep running from everything. That's why you need to stop running and face whatever you got to face and deal with whatever you got to deal with. Because if you run from Pharaoh, you're going to run from the serpent. You're going to run from love. You're going to run from life. You're going to run from responsibility. You're going to run. When are you going to stop running? This is a marching legion of enemies that are coming against you to bring you down. You think I'm going to roll over and play dead while you take over my stuff? The devil is a lie. I will fight you. I don't mean no fancy fight. I mean I'll claw and kick and scratch and bite your nose. I'll fight you. When he got through messing with your daddy, now he's going to mess with you. When he got through messing up your sister, now he's after you. But I came to serve notice on the devil today. It stops right here. I'm going to fight for the territory. Somebody who's in a fight, give God a praise right now. And as long as you were a spectator, the devil was all right with that. But the moment you start raising your head and worshiping God, all hell breaks loose. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying to you? You got to hear this. You mean you just gonna sit there and let the enemy take your stuff? You do recognize you're in a fight. See, because most church people don't know that they're in a fight. They've been saved, but their mentality is so carnal that they just think stuff happens. Nothing just happens. Everything came from somewhere. Everything had a genesis. Everything had a beginning. It didn't just happen. That thing was sent against you. It was sent against you. I don't care what the doctor says, what the nurse says, what the bookkeeper says. I don't care what you read in the Wall Street Journal about the economy. The devil is a lie. That spirit was sent And you sitting up here with your dressed up self, acting like, well, whatever happens, happens. The devil is a lie. Said the devil is a lie. You have accepted some things as normal and adjusted your way of life to accommodate something that was never meant to be. You mean you just gonna sit there and let the enemy take your stuff, take your life, take your family, take your son, take your daughter, take your grandkids? You just gonna lay back and let him have your job, have your influence, have your business? You just gonna hand it over without a fight? You're not going to fight or nothing. You're not going to do spiritual warfare. You're not going to fight in the spirit. You're not going to go into the end. You're just going to let him have your territory. You better fight for your territory. I don't care what it is, your legs, your arms, your toes, your kids, your company, your finances. I don't care what it is. You got to fight for your territory. You have to fight to keep your eyesight. You have to fight to keep your energy. You have to fight to keep your movement. I mean, you have to fight for stuff that you used to take for granted. My God, do you hear what I'm saying to you? You say, I will fight. Don't you think for 1 minute that I won't fight. Don't you think I won't fight. Just because I'm 12 don't mean I won't fight. David was a boy when he killed Goliath. Don't let the fat fool you. I'm fat, but I'll fight. I'm gray-headed, but I'll fight. I'm a woman, but I'll fight. I'm an old man, but I'll fight you right now. Yeah, oh my God, I mean, I'll fight you right now. Until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances. After a while, something begins to wither inside of you.
You're going to have such a period in your life where it seems like it's not working. You're going to have a lot of trials and challenges, and everybody has a turn back moment where the direction you're going, you will have to make a decision to keep going or you turn back.
And what we have got to do is know there's a power in you that regardless of what happens to you, you can stand up inside of yourself. I think that's what the poet meant when he says, out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. You have an unconquerable soul.
See, some people quit because things are out of control. The moment you get in something where you don't get your way, or it's bad conditions or bad circumstances, the first thing the immature mind says is, this is ridiculous, I quit. Are there any fighters in here? I fought my way up. I fought to get to work. I fought to stand. I fought to carry on. I fought to love. I fought to get out of the bed. I fought with my fears, my anxieties, my insecurities. I fought with haters, backbiters, and betrayers. And many times I laid in the bed. I couldn't go to sleep because I was fighting with myself. I fought. I fought a good fight. You might not have seen it. You saw the glamour. But let me show you what you didn't see. I fought to do that. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of money. Down on my knees, I was still believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed, I was. Touch 3 people and tell them, keep the faith, keep the faith. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you got heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a new heart, but you got to keep your faith.
Just keep walking. Keep praising, keep thanking. That's when the miracle is going to take place. You can't go by what you see, go by what God promised you. My business is still slow. Keep on walking. These people at work are still not treating me right. Keep on walking. God sees your obedience. He hears you praising when you could be complaining. He sees you stretching when you could be shrinking back. As you keep walking, you're going to see God show out in your life. When you prove to God that you're going to do the right thing even when it's hard, then you're going to see God do awesome things in your life. Don't talk yourself out of what you know God is telling you to do. Sometimes it seems ordinary. You're asking God to promote you. He's saying, get to work on time. You're asking God for healing. He's saying, eat healthier, exercise, get more sleep. It doesn't have to make sense. That's what faith is all about. Faith makes room for provision. You can't wait till it happens. You have to make room for it when you don't see any sign of it. You have to talk like it's on the way. Think like it's on the way. Are you missing your miracle because you're reasoning everything out? You're looking at it all in the natural? God is supernatural. After Moses died, God raised up Joshua to lead the Israelites. The earlier generation never made it into the promised land. Now the children of that generation had grown up. They were headed to the promised land, but they had to cross the Jordan River. The problem was, it was the rainy season, and the Jordan was in flood stage, with violent currents rushing down from the melting snow. Joshua was familiar with this type of scene. He was there when Moses held up his staff and the Red Sea parted. When these 2 million people came to the Jordan River and saw how swollen it was, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it, I can imagine Joshua did like his mentor Moses. He held up his rod and said, Lord, please let these waters part. But nothing happened. God promised Joshua, as I was with Moses, I will be with you. He didn't say, I'm going to do for you everything I did for Moses. There's a distinct calling on your life. You don't have to copy someone else, try to be what they are. Walk in your own anointing. Walk in your own calling. Joshua had to make a decision. Are we going to turn around and go back, or are we going to keep walking? Joshua's attitude was, we've come too far to stop now. Instead of turning back, he told all the people, let's keep walking. I can hear them say, excuse me, Joshua, do you not see there's a violent, raging river? There's nowhere to go. Joshua acted like he didn't hear them. There will always be people that try to convince you to turn back. You have to do like Joshua and have a made-up mind. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to become all I was created to be. They looked back at Joshua one last time, thinking surely he's going to retreat now. Joshua answered with 3 simple words, keep on walking. The scripture says, when their feet got wet, suddenly the waters begin to push back. Miracles happen when there's obedience. God doesn't give us all the details. May not happen like you've seen happen with your family. Like Joshua, every circumstance may say, it's not going to turn around. Go back. You'll never get well. It would have happened by now. Don't believe those lies. Keep walking.
To everybody here, if there is no joy when you wake up in the morning, if you dread the sound of the alarm clock going off, if you feel stagnant, if you have the thought in your head that there has got to be more to life than this, you know what you should do? You should stop doing whatever it is you're doing. You will become exceptional the moment you make an exceptional decision.
If you have a goal in mind and you want to achieve that goal, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. And if you're not, you're never going to reach that goal.
The more you put into anything, the more you're going to get out. The longer you train, the more you eat, the more you sleep, the better results you're going to get.
Small daily improvements over time will lead you to stunning results. Tiny wins are the way to greatness.
But when you find yourself getting lazy, when you find yourself getting unfocused, it's because you forgot what you're doing it for. You forgot what your motivation is. You forgot what your reasoning is. So I'm going to encourage you, if you ever find yourself distracted, remember why you're there in the first place. When you find yourself getting distracted and running off a course, remember why you're there. Remember why you went there in the first place. Remember what's pushing you, because I guarantee you the reason why you're there was something that got you to that point in the first place. You have to grind for your future. You have to persist and push for your future.
Do everything in your power so that you are eventually going to hit your goals and be great.
So you want to be successful? Well, then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt.
Success doesn't happen by chance. It happens by change. It happens by having a purpose and a clear plan that you can execute by taking daily action and not wasting time.
You can truly accept this, that it's going to be hard, and you don't want it to be easy. You want this to be real. You want this to be powerful. You want this to amount to something. You want to work for it. You want to go in there because you want to show up. You don't want to have that feeling of being like, I don't deserve this, because you can look back at the journey. You can look back at the sweat, the blood, the tears, the sacrifices. That's all you. That's something that you can do. And you want to be proud of that.
See, because a decision without action is only what? A good intention. Good intentions are going to get you nowhere. Dreams, goals and dreams and visions and all of these things mean nothing unless you take action towards them. So what are you going to do today that's going to drive your business to the next level? What are you going to do next week that's going to drive your business to the next level?
So when I procrastinate, even though I think that I'm giving myself a break, I'm actually going to have to work twice as hard as I would have had I just got up and done it.
Discipline is nothing more than demonstrating your decision on a daily basis.
And so you got to look at the other side of discipline. When you have the discipline to do the things that you really don't want to do, you then earn the right to have the things that you really want to have.
Take a look at whatever you've accomplished so far and decide to compete with yourself so that you can do more than you've done in your past. Compete with yourself. Challenge yourself.
Will it always be joyful in this process? No, sometimes it's going to be downright painful. Growth is sometimes painful. But when the growth occurs, it is always glorious and beautiful.
In life, we must all suffer one of two pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I'm asking you, when your turn comes to make this choice, please choose wisely.
You're one decision away from living the best life. You're one decision away from living the life of your dreams, the life that you imagine. And that one decision typically is you saying yes to your destiny, yes to your purpose.
Challenges in our life are not meant to stop us. They're not meant to hold us back from achieving our dreams. In fact, it's the opposite. They are meant to help us truly discover who we are and what we're made of. Because that, my friends, is what moves us from ordinary to extraordinary.
You gotta work. You gotta work. What happens if you wake up 30 days later and you're there? What happens if you wake up 60 days later and the change is coming? You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna wake up 60 days later, 90 days later, and everything is gonna change but you. And you're going to get the same results you got before it happened because you're the exact same person. So work while you wait. I want you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing me? I need you to see difficult differently.
The only credit I will give myself is when other people break and give up and stop, I just don't.
You got to have a plan. Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? And your plan has got to have something I call the C5 complex. Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You've got to have a plan. And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B. Plan B sucks.
Now, fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it.
You can be asking for assignments that are above your level. So there's work that you do at your level, and then there's work that you do above your level. And the only way that you're going to be promoted to do work above your level is A, if you can demonstrate that you're capable of doing the work at your level, and B, if you are proactive in seeking out opportunities that expand your capability and give you a chance to work above the level that you're at.
The way through the challenge is to get still and ask yourself, what is the next right move? And then from that space, make the next right move and the next right move, and not to be overwhelmed by it, because you know your life is bigger than that one moment. You know you're not defined by what somebody says is a failure for you, because failure is just there to point you in a different direction.
Nothing's going to happen unless you take that initial action. Nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change unless you put down that pen in the meeting and you sit up and you pay attention and you listen for your opportunity to speak. Nothing's going to happen unless you push yourself to go in and make the ask for that assignment that scares you to death.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love.
But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it.
My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day, so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have?
Select a person who is already doing something that you'd like to do. Get to know that person. Go to the experts for advice. Don't ask the person next door, your mother, father, brother, or the guy that works beside you, because they don't necessarily know. There's no point in asking a person how to earn a lot of money if they're only earning $10,000 a year. They don't know. If they knew, they'd probably be earning a lot. It's like, don't go to a sick doctor if you want to get healthy.
Okay.
So you find someone that you can go to for advice. Get a real good book and lock into that book and start to study it. Like, I've had this one that looks like a Bible, But this is Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I've been reading this thing now for 23 years. I'll probably read it for another 23 years. I get another good book that I brought over here today. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Now, I'm not getting a commission for selling this, the authors. dead now. He's been gone for a couple of years. But Dr. Joseph Murphy wrote this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And that's probably one of the best books that you're ever going to find, because you're going to learn something about your mind when you read this book. Okay. Now, I read a lot of books. I've got probably 1,000 books sitting in my den at home in my library. But the one that I carry it everywhere I go, and I read it all the time, is Think and Grow Rich. I never stop reading it.
Where's the value for you to reread that? I mean, you must know it well enough that...
I think I could probably recite it verbatim. But the secret is, I once read in a book where it said, when you read a good book through the second time, you don't see something in it that you didn't see before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before. You see, when I read this, I create a greater awareness.
The bow too tightly strung is easily broken, says one of the Proverbs. Balance is a gorgeous thing. So be monomaniacal in your execution around your high-value targets, your HVTs, your mission plan, but also build in some rewards. And that's going to send a gorgeous message to your conscious and your subconscious mind that, hey, this daily practice of execution around my deliverables is a beautiful thing. And you create this thing called momentum. And the monk who sold his Ferrari, I went back and I saw this recently. I think there's a whole chapter on momentum. And you become like this. I love skiing. You start off small, but as you go down the slope, you pick up momentum. A lot of people say, Robin, where do I start? I want to start a new business. I want to become a better artist. I want to find the love of my life. I want to be a world-class creative. I want to multiply my financial life. Where do I start? You just start. You just start. There's great power in the start. And when you start, life starts supporting you.
First and foremost, you need something bigger than you to be inspired about. I think we're all born with a deep and meaningful purpose that we have to discover. Your purpose in life is not something you need to make up. It's already there. You just need to discover it. That means to take the cover off of what's already there. And when you do, when you really discover what you're meant to do, it will be the reason you get up in the morning. Prior to discovering your life purpose, it's easy to become sidetracked or feel uninspired or feel like you've accomplished very little in life. But what if these feelings are simply feedback that you need to keep going, keep searching until you discover? And what if it's the universe reminding us not to settle for mediocrity, to continue experimenting for the one thing that lights you up? I also believe we're all born with a set of talents and interests that tell us what we're supposed to be doing. Lots of times they come so naturally to us, we overlook them. We think finding our purpose is supposed to be more profound or difficult, but what if it's right in front of you the whole time? Think about it. Have you ever wanted to study something that you loved, but the more logical route was to do what your parents or teachers or friends thought you should do? Well, maybe you wanted to be a potter or a musician or an artist, but ended up in business school because it was logical or sensible. If so, you're not alone. You're just off track. Maybe you really are meant to be a potter.
As soon as we got tougher, as soon as we got less PC, as soon as we got that we didn't care what they said or thought about us, we got more successful. And we started doing deals. You cannot do, a lot of transactions without hurting feelings. The old saying about to make an omelet, you got to break eggs. And everybody that's ever had an omelet, there's normally some kind of eggshell in it because they can't get all the eggshell out. Collateral damage. Fred Smith, the founder of Federal Express, said, and he's similar background, similar age. He was a young Marine officer. I was a young Army officer. He said when he came back from Vietnam, as soon as he realized his mistakes, the collateral damage of his mistakes did not end up with body bags, meaning dead people, he says the rest was easy. So the worst I was ever going to do is hurt somebody's feelings, make them cry. And he built Federal Express, and he's one of the icons of business who's still running the business.